Go by the name of Sacario, aka Mr. Guanteloai, aka Mr. Live Big Car Keys, and right about now, you are now tuning in to 5films.com. We representing that money making Manhattan, uptown shit, Harlem, Washington Heights, Dykeman, and all that. You know how we get down. Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, Sacario is a rapper. I was signed to Elektra Entertainment by Miss Sylvia Rohn and Mr. Merlin Bob, the former president and vice president of Elektra. I was signed to Elektra through Angie Martinez, who was a radio personality at Hot 97. I signed a real good contract. It was a multi-album deal for me as a rapper, but I also started writing. I wrote Angie's Animal House album, and I started writing for rappers like Exhibit and a few other recording artists, and then that gave me the title as a writer and a ghostwriter. And currently now I'm a filmmaker. I started writing a documentary called The Owners, The Rise and Fall of the Music Industry, and I also started writing a documentary on myself called Confessions of a Rapper, which basically tells my story in the music industry. So I'm a writer, I'm a rapper, and I'm a filmmaker. I went to Norman Thomas High School, and they used to have these talent shows every year. This was in the 90s. You know, you had groups like Wu-Tang that was out. You had Mobb Deep. It was, you know, a lot of hardcore. When hip-hop first came out, you know, I was a popular guy in school, I like to say, you know. And so I was kind of doing my own thing with the girls and everything like that. And I really didn't, you know, I saw guys that were rapping. I had friends that were rapping, but I didn't really get it, you know. It wasn't really something that I was really interested in. And literally, one of my friends, you know, was performing that night in the show, in the talent show, and I went with him to rehearsal. And I had a cassette tape of Exhibit, a song called Paparazzi. I had the instrumental. The instrumental was dope. And I literally wrote a rhyme that day and jumped into the show that night. And the response was crazy. The girls were going crazy. But it really wasn't until I heard Mace and Biggie and Puffy, and I started to really see, like, you really could make commercial records, and it really could be about girls and getting money and all of that. And that's when I really decided at that point, like, yeah, I want to do this rap shit. First of all, I never wanted to do interviews, ever. I always was somebody that just wanted to make music. I always felt like there was an ulterior motive behind a lot of, you know, whether it's print magazine or even television, that, you know, they just wanted to sell papers, or they just wanted to sell, you know, video, and they only were more concerned about gossip. So I never really wanted to do interviews, especially when, you know, the questions weren't intriguing enough, or, you know, they just want to know who you beefing with, or, you know, things of that nature. So interviews was something that I didn't like to do. I didn't like the camera. I just wanted to make music. And I was young at the time, 21, 22. So I've grown as a man. I've grown as a person. I think I care more now about what's going on in the world with politics. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I'm always interested in politics and interested in things such as the Trayvon Martin case and things like that. So I've grown as a man, and on top of it, musically, I think I'm a better artist than I ever was, because I'm more used to my flow. I'm more used to riding over beats, and, you know what I mean? I'm just a better artist, I think, now than I ever was. So I think I've grown 360 degrees just as a human being. I was born in Harlem originally, in St. Luke's Hospital. Probably one of the worst hospitals, but I survived, you know. And so, you know, I think growing up in Harlem and originally in the 80s, man, it was nothing like it. I mean, the biggest drug lords, and just the money was crazy. Just Harlem was a different place than it is now. The swagger is just like natural in Harlem. You know, uptown swagger is just, that's something that just, you know, I'm an uptown kid, and just swagger uptown. You know, growing up and seeing that, I didn't want to be Scarface. I didn't want to be none of these guys from the movies. I wanted to be like the guys that I saw on the streets. But around 1991, 92, my boy Wesley brought me up to 173rd and Broadway, and that really changed my life. He brought me uptown, and he brought me to his family's house. That was the first time I ever seen like parents together, a mother and a father. My mother and father were never together. I never saw that. And another thing is, growing up in Harlem, you know, my hair is curly. And they used to make fun of me. They used to say, you know, he got S curl and all of that, the Jerry curl and all of that. And I didn't know what I was. You know, I just knew I looked different, and I knew my hair was curly. And it wasn't until I went uptown and I seen Dominicans, and they also had curly hair, and I'm like, wait a second, you know. And they embraced me. And I think when she saw me, and she saw me looking around, and she saw me, you know, see her and her husband together, she said, you know, she told me something that really changed my life. She said, you know, you Dominican now. I don't care what nobody got to say. And I was 10, you know what I mean? And ever since then, you know, for 20 plus years, I've been representing the Dominican Republic, representing the Dominican community. You know, I send clothes and sneakers to the Dominican Republic. A lot of my producers are Dominican. My best friends are Dominican. My son is Dominican. And, you know, that's what I am. I represent Washington Heights, and I represent Uptown. And finally, you know, when I see that Dominican flag, man, I get goosebumps to this day. I mean, you can't explain, you know, what seeing a flag, you know, would do to you. You know what I mean? But when you really love what you represent, you have a special connection with it. So I have a special connection with the community, and that's who I am. I'm an Uptown kid. I think first and foremost, I give 100%. You know, when I make records, I make records from my heart. I'm not trying to sound cool or trying to sound angry. I just am who I am. As a musician, I'm free. If you ever seen like Carlos Santana play the guitar, and he's making all these crazy faces, he's free while he's playing. He's not trying to be cool while he's playing or be a rock star while he's playing. So when I'm recording and I'm making records, I'm just, you know, I'm in touch with what I'm saying. And again, if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, or if you don't, I'm talking about life. I'm talking about everything. You know, when I talk about the Republican National Convention, you know, I know what Mitt Romney stands for. I know what Ron Paul stands for. I know what Sarah Palin stands for. And, you know, as an artist and as a person, I give my fans all of me, and I stand up for what I believe in. You have artists who are huge, that have 5, 6, 7, 10 million, 11 million followers, and they stand up for nothing. You don't know what they like. You don't know what they don't like. And what's different with me is you're going to know what I like, and you're going to know what I don't like. And I think automatically, you know, you get to see that I'm well-rounded and not just a rapper. I'm not currently signed right now, although given the right situation, I'm all in. You know, I was signed to Elektra. Like I said, I had a really good deal. I was allowed to keep 100% publishing, 100% merchandising, and I had a really good deal. But I think part of it was they didn't really know what to do with me. You know, I don't really like to talk bad about them. Actually, it's not really that I don't really like to. It's just, you know, they gave me an opportunity. You know what I mean? And we did well. But it just didn't work out. You know what I mean? And you know, at the time, the music industry was just taking a turn for the worse. Labels were closing. Elektra wound up closing, and people wound up getting fired. And then they had all these crazy, what's called a 360 deal, and I wasn't with that. And it just didn't make sense business-wise at the time to really sign a deal and get the type of deal that I was used to. Not really the money, but just a good deal. So, you know, I remained unsigned. But, you know, given the right situation, I'm all in. Well, right now I started a company called Quiet Ink Productions, and it's incorporated in New York as a film company primarily. And like I said, you know, we have the owners, the rise and fall of the music industry documentary, which I wrote the screenplay to, and I'm producing, and Confessions of a Rapper documentary, which I wrote and I'm producing, and probably about 12 other full feature films that I'm writing and producing. On top of that, we're doing all of the soundtracks to the movies, so I'm still writing and producing music and rapping, still jumping on remixes that make sense and, you know, that I really like, and always recording records and you know, just keeping my name out there. But my primary focus is really the films, but also, you know, putting out records as well. My whole career was the high point, really, because you know, I wrote If I Could Go on my bedroom. It was actually in a studio floor on a carpet with no, I didn't even have furniture in my house yet. I literally, by the time I signed my deal, I wrote the record. And most artists at the time were only, I mean, they were signed for 2-3 years before they put out a single. So it really started real fast, and that's really a thing about the industry, is it's really, really fast. So that was just big up in and of itself. For the first record that I wrote commercially to be such a huge success, you figure today, if you get 800 spins a week, that's pretty good. It's enough really to get you a deal. 800 spins a week. We were doing 6,000 spins a week. I got a BDS Nelson Spin Award plaque for 100,000 spins for that award, for that song. You know, I got 7 platinum and gold awards. I'm in the Guinness World Records for NBA Live 2003, first video soundtrack to go platinum. I got a Kids Bop, #1 kids album, gold plaque. And but if I had to pick one, I would say I performed in Disneyland, Anaheim, California, in the middle of Disneyland for 6-year-olds. And I think that was really the highlight, because at that point I knew, like, you know, you're in a different space now. You know what I mean? The little kids was coming to me, they wanted autographs, and that was really dope. So I would say that was the high point. I think artists are doing what artists are supposed to do, which is create. And I think the labels are not doing what they're supposed to do, which is they're supposed to be a buffer. You know, the artist is free to imagine and to create and to, you know, explore, and it's up to the label to be the buffer and say, well, you know, we're gonna release this and not release that. When you allow the artists themselves all to put music out on YouTube and Twitter, is good for some of the creative artists and the really good artists, because now they get to deliver to their fans. But it's bad for artists who are just putting out complete horrendous bullshit. And it just can't go on like that. The label served the purpose, you know, and they were supposed to do their jobs. So where's hip hop going? It's really bad. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be bad, you know, but it's really bad, and it will continue to be really bad unless there's some sort of a buffer and some sort of a structure. Everything has to have a structure. You can't just be a doctor. If you woke up today and said, you know, I'm going to be a doctor today, and you just went to a hospital and you did surgery, you're going to kill a couple patients, you know what I mean? So you have to go to college to be a doctor. You have to pass the MCATs and whatever, you know, whatever other tests that you have to pass. And hip-hop is no prerequisites. You just wake up one day, decide you want to be a rapper, and now you could deliver the music straight to YouTube. So of course you're going to have horrible shit come out. So it just has to be structure, or it's just going to die, unfortunately. And we're just going to be listening to old Nas albums, which is fine by me. You can follow me on a website called itsmyurls.com. So itsmyurls.com/Sacario. And that pretty much has all the links to all my sites, from Wikipedia to Twitter, Facebook, and, you know what I'm saying, all of that. And, you know, I'm on Twitter all the time, Facebook all the time, YouTube. Or you could just Google me if you really don't feel like typing nothing in the bar. Be true to yourself. Never compromise your integrity. Know what you want, know your limitations, and know when it's just not for you. You know, so many people banging their head against the wall for this. You just got to know what you really want out of this, and if you really want it. And it's okay not to want it. It's okay to want a 9-to-5. It's okay to be a construction worker. You know, this shit is not as cool as people make it out to be. We sacrifice a lot as artists. We sacrifice our time. We sacrifice our energy. We sacrifice even being in a position where, you know, even the amount of hate, you know, one person can say something bad to you and could ruin your day. We have thousands of people saying foul shit to us all day on Twitter and Facebook, and it's not easy, you know what I mean? So just, I would say, just know what you want, and it's cool to be you. You know, it's not cool to be a rapper or cool to be a rock star or whatever the fuck. Just be you.